The spawn where each floor can be hunted separately, and all are pretty good options. This is how to hunt Buried Cathedral -2. This place is part of the Dream Course quest. The entrance to it is located in the Haunted Cellar by POH, but in order to enter, you must have done the 3 access quests in each of the Spectre spawns. In Gazers, you need to loot 4 idle tooks. In Bursters, you need to get 2 ornamented keys, and on Reapers, you need to fill a bucket with goo. That's the short version of it, but upon having done all of that, you get access to the spawn. For this video, I will be covering the second floor, which has all 3 types of specters. And on this floor, unlike -1 or -3 where you find Arachnophobicas, it can be slightly easier. But the difference on elemental attacks makes it hard to gear up for it, both offensively and defensively. For defense, at least on the EK, is mainly physical. The rest is whatever you can get. And shooters get hit from the AoE ice and earth attacks mostly. In terms of offensive, the best element will be energy, since it is neutral to all of them. Ice or fire tends to be the worst, as some of the specters on the pools won't get hit much, but earth is okay, since Reapers still take decent damage from it. For me, in most EKs on the level range, you won't have a good elemental weapon to attack with, so go with an attack elemental imbuement instead. Energy, death, or earth in that order of preference, whichever you are able to get. Also, this spawn in general is mostly 3 squares passages, which makes it a bit awkward to set up pools, since most of them are connecting lures apart from each other, so the EK's movement is essential to make this spawn good. Use to your advantage the fact that they don't retarget, so as long as you are ahead and grabbing aggro, you can run past the monsters and keep them on your screen to keep aggro as you run past them. And with that said, let's start with the lab. From the entrance, you can levitate down to -2, then go towards the north, but keep in mind that monsters can come from the opposite direction and go on shooters. With firebombs, you can stop Reapers and Bursters, but if you do end up using one, make sure to remove it with an energy bomb, since you don't want it to still be there for the next lap. Next pull is through the door. Go in and then set up at the middle of the intersection. Then the RP can lure 2 Gazers from the south if he's fast about it. Then go back a bit to take the passage to the north, and then continue going north until you see 6 monsters and then stop, clear them, and continue the path. The next pull will be a bit before the corner. For this one, there are squares on the north side that you can use to help you set up the pull. By standing one spot after it, then you give room for the monsters chasing you to still be able to get to you. The same thing happens for the next pull, which is slightly behind the next intersection. Then for the next one, it depends on how you want to do it. We were leaving the doors open, and that will let me do 2 pulls here, but before that, I will pick towards the south to bring 2 extra from there. Optionally, you can close some of them and go further to make just 1 pull. But following our lap, after clearing this pull, go further in for another one, then backtrack and go south. This has 2 options. You can set up at the intersection and have someone lure from the south, or just take your lure further south and do it yourself, or with the help of the RP. This room with the treasure chest can be opened with a wood key that you get from a grave in -3. It's a bit rare to get, and the chest can be opened once every 20 hours, and it gives a selection of items, with Nightmare Blaze being the most expensive. Just a bit of a bonus tip to be aware of. For the actual pull, go past the door and make sure to rest the monsters around it, since because of bad game design, they might be targeting someone behind the door. Once you have aggro, go west and set up around here. This one often has extra monsters, so the RP should be tanking them. You can also set up closer to the right, and then the RP only needs to block 1 square of monsters. Then go south and do a pull around the middle of the passage with about 6 to 8 monsters. Next up, continue going west, and this one has different options you can go for. For example, in our case, we had the RP go back where we came from, after the previous pull, and then lure monsters from the hall towards us. You can also set up by the intersection and get the aggro of monsters around. Optionally, you can still lure from either direction. Also, another pull that you could add is northwest by the room with the barrels on it. This is one we didn't need to do, but it can be used in case of overkilling. Either way, the next pull is different depending on your choice, because if the RP lure from the east, then you have less monsters on the intersection back to the middle, and you will be able to connect them with the specters up north at the bridge. Otherwise, you will have to do a smaller pull there with luring some from the bridge. In this recording, the bursters were boosted, which is why we were hunting there to begin with, since the actual spawn of bursters was highly contested and this wasn't. If it wasn't for that, -1 is similar experience and easier to hunt, but having bursters boosted was too good to pass on, and the raw experience we were making was of over 2.7 kk, which by the way, booster creature does not influence. And with the better characters on a normal server, we were doing over 2.6kk. It's hard to point the reason as to why it was lower experience, but it's most likely due to the RP in our new server characters using the summon during the recording. Additionally, there is yet another lap you could do by using both -1 and -2, which involves going through the spiders area on -1, taking the stairs down towards the boss Faceless Pain, and then follow the path west all the way to the other stairs near the room with barrels, then going up and restarting the lap. I wasn't a fan of that one, so we didn't try it enough, but I'm still sharing it in case you want to try it. And with that, I will be stopping this video. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Tuna Hero, Night Star, and Thor the Slasher.